Alright, today we are going to be painting the helmet. So, I've already marked with a pencil the teeth, marked the rectangles, I marked the ears, and I marked the cheeks. I'm not going to do the tube stripes yet. We're going to paint everything black, just a stripe all the way around on everything. On the teeth, the vocoder, paint it all black. And we're going to come through, we're going to paint everything gray, leave a little black line through everything that we painted black, just a small one. And then once the gray is dry, then we're going to use the templates, and then we're going to make, with a pencil, mark the stripes, and then paint them black. Same thing with the rear ones. Put them on, make the marks, paint them black. And the same thing with the front. When I do it, I pencil it in. Everything gets penciled in. I don't paint it with it on, because if you paint it, it's going to be sloppy. When you're done, everything's going to be all dripping and just look horrible. So it's better just. It depends though. If you're not a very good painter, like a hand painter, I'm going to paint all this by hand. So if you can't do it by hand, then you'll have to try it a different way. But I've tried it both ways, and I don't like painting these. I would rather mark them in, take it off, and then actually paint them in. So we'll be using those a little bit later, not right now. I'm just going to make them flat again, or as flat as I can. So right now we have Humbrol paint, Humbrol black, the Humbrol blue, and the Humbrol gray. So the blue we'll use last, because we don't want to be painting and get our hand all in the blue. So that'll be the very last one. So we'll use the black for everything. So we're doing ESB, so the teeth are going to be black. So in A New Hope, the teeth are gray. But since we're doing Empire Strikes Back, and it's basically just A New Hope armor and then made into Empire Strikes Back. So the teeth are going to be black. Just the teeth. Return of the Jedi, it's the whole frown will be black. But we're not doing Return of the Jedi, we're doing Empire Strikes Back. So these will be black instead of gray. So I'll be painting the vocoder, the teeth, and all the ears, and all the rectangles and the cheek ones first. Let it dry for a couple hours. And then I'll go over the gray, let it dry for a couple more hours. And I'll make all the stripes, let it dry for a couple hours. And then I'll do the last, but not least, the tube stripes. So we have the brow trim. It's a US 50 or 52, one of them. So it comes right here. So it's the brow trim. You can get this off of Trooper Bay. I actually got it off a website where I bought it straight from the UK. So I basically bought it all in bulk. So you could sit there and buy from Trooper Bay, buy one at a time, or you can buy it in bulk and have a bunch. As you can tell, I do quite a few helmets, so it's a lot cheaper for me to do it in bulk. And then we got the S trim, and basically it has looks like an S if you pull it apart. So one side fits in, it just fits into there, and you just go all the way around. And then it comes back around. If it's going to be too long, you'll just have to cut off a little bit. You don't necessarily have to glue it in, because they're going to be pushing up against each other. So it'll keep it in there. And usually most people, because this is going to be painted black, most people put where they both meet together, they put them up front, so that you can't see the little line. So I've already mixed these, and then I'll go over the CRL real quick for the... Okay, so we're going to try to make this into level 3 certification. So the first thing we're going to do is the traps on the dome of the helmet. Area beneath the corner of the eye lens are gray. So this and here, the rear traps and tiers have vertical black lines. So again, right here, vertical lines. The ears have 3 bumps. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Says the ears have 3 or 4 bumps and are painted gray. So it'll be and with black outline. So we'll do a black outline, paint the whole thing gray, and then only for level 3, each bar shall only have 1 or 2 bumps painted in black. So normally I just do 1, and I'll do the rear one. And then it says neck trim shall be of an S-type profile rather than a U-type. So I already showed you the S-type, and that's, I want to say SRW149 for the S trim. And then, so I'm reading the black ones now. Those were the 3 for the Centurion. This is just the 501st. Frown is painted black. Does not leave the teeth area. 8 or 6 total teeth on the frown are cut out. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got 7 on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you can have anywhere between 8 or 6 teeth on the front cut out. Tube stripes are a medium blue. So here's a medium blue. There's actually 2 blues for the Humbrol, but we're using the lighter of the 2. The other one's darker. Let's see, there'll be 13. There should be 13 to 16, but can be 9 to 16 with the curve extending outward, or extending backwards. And then the vocoder chin part is black. Aerators, the Hobie mic tips are black. The tiers, traps, and tube stripes should be decals, but can be hand painted, or decals that replicate hand painting. So we don't have any decals, so what we're doing is we're hand painting everything. And then mesh, you can see the mesh here. Mesh may be used behind the frown to obscure the face of the wearer. This isn't an FX, so we don't have to worry about the FX. It's not an MRCE, so we don't have to worry about that. Okay, so for level 2, for EIB, ears shall have 3 screws. So we have 2, and we still got to put in 1 more. So we'll put another one right here for 3 screws. 1 above, 1 below the ear bar, and then 1 at the base of the helmet. So down here. Tube stripes, tube tiers, and tube stripes shall be decals with the correct ESB details. No hand painting or decals that replicate hand painting. So for ESB, we can't have anything painted. Traps, tiers may be either A&H gray or a slightly bluer shade of A&H gray, kind of like Return of the Jedi. Ears shall have 4 bumps only, not 3, so there's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then correct Hobie mic aerator tips. So for EIB, none of that can be hand painted. They all have to be decals, with the correct ESB decals. But that's for the traps. So both these 2. Let's see, where are the traps, tiers, maybe like traps, tiers, and tube stripes. So the traps, the tiers, and the tube stripes have to be ESB decals. So since we have none today, we're going to paint them all on. And then if he wants to go for EIB, all he has to do is just go to FISD and actually find whoever's selling the actual ESB, both the traps, the tiers, and then the hand ones. So you can paint them on now to be 501st, and then if you want to upgrade, you can easily put the sticker where you painted, so you don't have to take off all the paint. You can just, if you're good at putting on at one time. So we'll go ahead and paint, since we don't have any of the decals. We'll just go ahead and paint it on. And basically what they did for ESB compared to Return of the Jedi is that they used the same, everything was the same. They just changed a few things. And this was one of the things they changed, was put decals on it. So you don't have to make it really wide. All you got to do is just make an outline. Here you can mess up, doesn't matter, because once you put the gray in, the gray will fix whatever you messed up. Okay, so that's all you need for the first one. Make it just a little bit thicker in some areas. So I'm using a really thin brush so that I can get fine details. I don't want a thick one, because again, you don't need really thick lines. But it doesn't matter with the black. If you paint it thick or thin, it's the gray. When you come back for the gray and you paint over it, it needs to be a lot thinner for the gray. So what I'm doing first is I'm painting all the stuff that I know when I set it down on the table, none of the paint's going to come off. It's not going to chip off by me moving it around. So I'm painting all the traps that way first. Then I'll come back through and paint the ears and then the vocoder at the last. So again, you don't need a lot of paint. The cool thing with this paint and this plastic, if I was to mess up and actually get paint, well, I didn't want it, I can use a polisher, either Novus or any plastic polisher. Any of the paint that I get where I don't want it after it dries. You can kind of get it now while it's still wet. You're going to smear it though if you're not careful, but it will come out.
So if one wanted to put stickers on later, they could use Novus to remove the paint before they put stickers on?
If you want to spend hours doing that, yeah, you could. I don't see why you couldn't just put the stickers right where the paint was at. One reason why I don't use stickers, my very first accurate kit, my first one was FX. So it's pretty much garbage, that kit. I got rid of that after about a year trooping, then I got an AP. Well, I used decals. After about a year or so, the decals started coming off. One thing I've noticed with painting is it's not going to come off. I mean, you got to sit there and either scrub it off, scratch it off, or use some kind of cleaner to get it off. The stickers, they're not, they don't stay on as long. So that's why I always do a New Hope if I do any stormtroopers. It's all hand painted, and I like to hand paint. The lines might be more crooked, but I think it looks so much better. trick with this hand painting is just making sure the helmet doesn't move on you. And not putting a lot of paint on the brush either. You can also use tester's paint, but Humbrol is what they use. It's a UK version of the paint, and that's what they actually used in the movie. So all this bottom part of this is going to be hidden by the brow trim. I think another good trick too is to have a really good paintbrush. And to take care of it. Put some more paint on here. One more ear, then we do the vocoder. I try to do as much as I can until the paint runs out, so make the line as long as possible. Okay, so there's the last one now. I usually do the outline first. You gotta be careful when you do this part, because if you have paint on there, sometimes it'll lift the paint off. Sometimes you have to do this twice. Now once you got all the outline,